A radio show host in Seattle called Pawl Gallant.
You are definitely living in the hindsight world today, Paul.
Do you feel there's been a consistent theme with the interceptions?
I think every interception really has a different story.
I was just kind of curious what Paul gets to see.
You got grow, mother. Are you kidding me?
Paul Gallant, what the hell is wrong with you?
Hello and welcome aboard another episode of the Gallant Says podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and of course, live, twitch.tv/Gallant Says or youtube.com/Paul Gallant. Take your pick. Happy Tuesday. It is October 25th of 2022. You got any questions? You can work them into the show. That's a part of the live experience here. You ask any, I will answer them. I wanted to start off talking about last night's Monday Night Football game. Good, googly, fucking moogly. That was hard to watch. And I finally get what it's like to be one of you people. I know, condescending Paul at it, but man, I've had it so damn good as a Patriots fan. It is really, really interesting to see it all start crumbling down. And while I'm not saying that this team's season is over, I did not think that Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears would be kicking my favorite sports team's ass last night. Nope. I did not see that happening. And to make matters worse, I don't know how to deal with a quarterback controversy, even though the greatest quarterback controversy of all time, Drew Bledsoe and Tom Brady, led to my favorite sports memory of my life when the Patriots won Super Bowl 36 in the 2001 to 2002 season. Quarterback controversies with Bill Belichick behind them, you'd think to yourself, you know what? He's done okay in the past, maybe not so much in Cleveland, but in New England. But how many of you guys know what happened at Bill Belichick's press conference last night? We're going to go into the picture-in-picture for this one. Here is Bill Belichick being asked after Mac Jones, who at one point slid into a Bears defensive back, put his cleat up, kicked him in the nads. Tom Brady did that once to Ed Reed. Maybe he's the next Tom Brady. Right after that happened, he threw an awful interception. Bill Belichick benched him. Brings in Bailey Zappi, who's won the last two games as starting quarterback for the New England Patriots after jumping in for Mac Jones. Check that. Jumping in for Brian Hoyer after Mac Jones went down with a high ankle sprain. Here is Bill Belichick being asked about his quarterback situation after the Patriots lost to the Bears last night.
I believe you told ESPN that the intention was to play both quarterbacks in this game. Was that because of Mac Jones' health?
Yeah, that was a factor, yes.
Bill, who is the starting quarterback?
Yeah, we just finished the game.
He's the best. There's long pause.
So when Mac came out of the game, Bill, was that a medical decision, the timing of the bowling him? So was that related to the interception? That was his last play tonight.
No, we had planned to play. I told the quarterbacks that we were gonna play both of them, so we did.
Gotta say, telling your quarterbacks that you're gonna play both of them is a rather surprising move, because isn't the age-old adage that if you have two quarterbacks, you have none? I get that Mac Jones is dealing with an ankle injury. He did not really look affected by it from a mobility perspective last night, though, because there was a point early on in that game where he led the Patriots in rushing. But you saw him just look completely uncomfortable in the pocket. And I'm not going to act like Bailey Zappi is the next coming, but I will admit the guy seems a lot more cool, calm, and collected under pressure than Mac Jones, who, for whatever reason this year, largely due to an offensive line that I don't think has been anywhere close to as good as it has in years past, that isn't protecting for him. He just doesn't look comfortable behind it. So that was Bill Belichick last night after the Patriots' 33-14 loss to the Chicago Bears, which is about as blowout as it gets in New England. Here is Bill Belichick being asked this afternoon about his quarterback situation.
As you move forward, if he's healthy, Bill, is it fair to say if he's healthy, he's the starter?
Again, that's a hypothetical question. So let's see, where that is and what that is.
Was Mac Jones healthy enough to play the entire game last night?
Yeah, well, that didn't happen. So that's another hypothetical question.
I'm just curious. You mentioned health was one of the reasons why he came out of the game, but he made mention of the fact that he felt pretty good last night when we spoke to him.
Right. Yeah, but that wasn't 70 plays.
As you move forward.
So that is Bill Belichick at his press conference today. I love Belichick press conferences. There's something about watching them where you just think to yourself, why are these reporters so damn uncomfortable asking him questions? But then you think about just how any of us are today. No one likes rejection. And Bill Belichick will reject pretty much every single one of the questions that you ask him in a press conference setting, unless you're asking him something that has to do with the history of the NFL. So you could ask him, like, what do you think about the great kickers in NFL history? Like, do you think that Adam Vinatieri would stack up against, I don't know, say George Blanda or something? And then Belichick would give you like a 30-minute answer. But anything else, he ain't going to give you much. Twitch.tv/Gallant says if you want to join the conversation live, afternoons, 3 o'clock Central Time. Rare Candy _86. He threw a pick to the guy he kicked in the nuts, mind you. Yeah, I know. That was what Mac Jones did. A nice, sorry I kicked you in the nuts gift. He caught it one-handed, too. So, very impressive interception by number 9 on the Chicago Bears. It sucks to finally realize what it's like to not have a quarterback and to dive headfirst into the things that you tell yourself as a sports fan about your quarterback, to rationalize the situation. As someone who has been covering the Houston Texans for most of my media career, it's very easy to accept that you don't have a quarterback. But when you know that whenever you do occasionally have the time to watch your favorite team play, that you have that guy, it is a wonderful feeling. And I don't have it anymore, and it fucking sucks. That's all I really have to say about that. I mean, shit, here I am looking at a moment where Bailey Zappe's on the sideline, sitting on the bench, and you can watch it right now, where he's singing along to Stacy's mom. All right, he's so cool and calm and poised. He's in a game where he just replaced the starting first-round pick of last year's draft quarterback, and he's singing Stacy's mom. That means he's got it. That means he's level-headed. That means he's tough. Yikes. That's where I'm at right now, guys. So laugh away. It is merited. Something else I wanted to talk about on today's show is basically just the experience that I've had for the last 48 hours or so. I think that the people who do follow me from time to time appreciate some of the thoughtful takes I have, of which there are not many. I think that some of you enjoy the fact that my mind wanders all over the place. But I think some of you really enjoy me because when it comes to talking shit, dancing on the grave of another team, or just being a condescending sports fan, that I'm damn good at it. And that has been me for quite some time. Largely due to the fact that in the last conversation we had, that I always at the end of the day could say, well, I'm a Patriots fan and you guys fucking suck by comparison. I don't know if I could really do that anymore, at least on that side of things. But do I even need it really anymore? And I ask that because I feel like I might enjoy watching teams blow it or lose than I enjoy watching a team win. And I think I've brought this up a couple of times on the podcast before. For example, this year, it's been great to watch the Seahawks win from afar. I am jealous because my every Sunday experience is watching the Houston Texans. And even though I was able to go to the game in person at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas on Sunday, and the Texans actually played a decent first half, ultimately I come away from that thinking to myself, damn, I got to go to NRG Stadium Sunday to watch them play against a Titans team that's probably going to beat them. You know, that is a bit of a bummer. To see the Seahawks, what they're doing from afar, it's cool. To watch what Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos are not doing from afar is even cooler. And I know that's been the subject of this podcast a lot over the last couple of weeks. Russell Wilson failing to me is fun. It's hilarious. Mainly because of the fact that he made it seem like the Seahawks weren't giving him what he wanted. And Seattle was like, all right, peace. Do your thing in Denver. And it has just been a complete train wreck. I do, to an extent, feel bad for him because I don't think Russell Wilson is a bad guy. I just think he's fake. And I didn't like that he tried to weasel his way around asking off of a team and admitting it publicly that he had asked his way off of that team. I didn't like that side of it. I do feel bad for whatever he might be thinking at this point in time. I suppose that's the Seattle empathy that has trickled into my brain. But I think I enjoy watching him fail more than I like watching my favorite teams win these days. I think I enjoyed watching the New York Yankees lose more than I perhaps enjoyed the fact that I'm covering this Houston Astros team, which is one of the best teams in baseball history, cheating or no cheating, that we've seen in a really long time. 6 straight American League Championship Series, 4 out of the last 6 World Series appearances. They have to win this one. But watching the Yankees lose and get swept and make excuses along the way and just look like an absolute shell of themselves, oh my God, it's wonderful. I'm looking on Twitter right now. The tweet, it is trending the words Brian and Cashman. And it's pretty incredible that Brian Cashman is still employed, isn't it? As general manager of the New York Yankees. Like, shouldn't he be gone? Shouldn't it be over? Shouldn't we be on to the next? I think that that George Steinbrenner would make that change really quickly. It's been a day and a half since the season ended, and Brian Cashman is still in charge with a team that is likely going to lose Aaron Judge this offseason, that is paying Josh Donaldson, who sucked in the playoffs, $21 million next year. I can't for the life of me figure out why he is still there, but I kind of like that he's still there. I like that they're going to have to continue to roll in this. And maybe they keep Aaron Boone too, and the excuses keep on coming. That part of this is so delicious. It's not just them losing. It is the fact that they are blaming their losses on wind. They are blaming their losses on disparaging exit velocities on baseball and bad luck. And it's just like, you lost 4 games. Why can't you just say, hey, this team is better than us, the Houston Astros? And maybe you don't want to give them credit because of the cheating stuff. Understandable. But why? Why do you keep on coming with different excuse after different excuse after different excuse? How are you that self-aware? It's very enjoyable to me. I've touched on this a couple of times before, too. I felt like this would be a more appropriate place to talk about her situation. But we found out today that a Moscow court rejected Brittany Griner's appeal of her 9-year sentence on drug charges on Tuesday, which is something that we all thought was going to happen. The U.S. has called it an illegitimate proceeding. International officials have called it an illegitimate proceeding. And there is a thought that eventually Russia is going to send her home in a prisoner swap. Apparently, though, they're picking up the phone to call Russia to make a prisoner swap, and Russia isn't picking up. And the U.S. made an offer in June. We haven't heard anything since then. For those who are unaware of the situation, Brittany Griner, in February, was caught with, I believe, a vape of marijuana, not sure exactly how much, in her suitcase, and ended up getting detained because it is illegal in Russia. I feel bad for that person. Maybe it was just an honest mistake. I do feel bad for Brittany Griner. And I want to make that clear because it's not fun to laugh at somebody who's in a Russian prison. On the other side of things, you're getting paid 4 times as much money in Russia to play basketball. She earns over $1 million every offseason for Moscow team UMMC Ekaterinburg. $1.5 million essentially to go play Russian basketball. Like this is where you really earn your money. It's in Russia. So I don't know. Dot your I's, cross your T's before you get on a plane. She had some pretty lame excuses about packing and being, I guess, late. Like, come on, you know what you got to do to go over to do your real job. You should prepare a little bit better. Organization skills are things that I learned in 6th grade. We actually had a class for that. Am I always the best about being organized? No, but at some point you face accountability for your actions. And I mean, she went to Russia, broke a Russian law. The fuck did you expect? You know? So now that we've gotten that out of the way, we feel bad for her, but I mean, it's her own fault. We're now in a situation where NBA player after NBA player can't help but weigh in on the situation. And this has been driving me a little bit crazy. The most recent example of this was with Kyrie Irving, who had this to say before the Brooklyn Nets season opener. And I do think it's funny that Kyrie Irving, a man who loves to talk about whatever he can possibly talk about to whoever will listen, had this to say about what's going on with Brittany Griner.
And all fans, please direct your attention to center court for a special opening night message from Brooklyn's Kyrie Irving.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to pause for a second. Why are we cheering Kyrie Irving? I mean, look, I get it. Some people stand with him on the whole vaccine thing. I don't believe in vaccine shaming. I don't believe in non-vaccine shaming. You know, I kind of don't give a fuck whether or not you got it. But the guy was gone for much of the season last year, and the Nets were a massive disappointment. That guy does not deserve to be cheered. Then again, it's Brooklyn. Are there real fans there? I don't know. Here's Kyrie continuing.
I appreciate everybody for coming in the building tonight. Appreciate you guys being a part of something special here. This is the start of it. And we want to make sure that you guys understand we cannot do this alone. We need you on every single night, participating. Make sure you're included in this team. Goal of ours, going after a championship.
Wow.
And with all that being said, I appreciate us being able to share this floor together, all of us as brothers. But the big picture that's going on in the world is free our sister, Brittany Griner. Please, please, POTUS, do your job.
All right, the big picture that's going on in the world. It's not a fucking WNBA player. No offense. And I think even people, like even the most ardent feminist out there, would probably agree with me in saying a women's basketball player, relative to the war that's going on between Russia and Ukraine, amongst a myriad of other things, is pretty low on the list. Now, maybe for basketball players, it's high up on the list. But I think the average person doesn't give a fuck about what a basketball player, whether they are Kyrie Irving in the NBA, making $20 million but barely showing up to work, Ben Simmons, same thing, or you're Brittany Griner, where you're getting paid $200,000+ a year to play for the Phoenix Mercury and then $1.5 million every year to play in Russia, right? Are we really thinking at all about those people in our day-to-day with grocery prices going up, all the byproducts of inflation, actual wars taking place across the world, what's going on in Iran? I mean, how long could we keep going, right? Anyway, Kyrie might not be done. Let's see if he can complete this thought at the beginning of the next season at the Barclays Center.
Everybody do your job. Please bring our sister home. And we wouldn't be doing our jobs to the best of our ability if we didn't stand on what we believe in. So we want to thank you to the 10th season in Brooklyn. This is going to be something special.
Okay, so look, I'm all for standing on what you believe in. I don't know if Kyrie Irving actually believes in anything. I feel like Kyrie Irving likes to seem like a voice who stands out above everybody else without actually having a whole lot of substance behind it. Maybe I'm wrong. Supposedly he is well liked across the NBA. All I want to say, though, is that when people like Kyrie Irving or Steph Curry or any of the many people who have been weighing in on Brittany Griner's situation in Russia speak up about her, I just want, at some point, an actual solution, okay? Because when we're taking a look at this through the sports prism of, I don't know, a trade machine or something like that, we are talking about, on the United States side of things, trading for a basketball player who's probably an afterthought to the majority of the Russian people, right? What should the United States have to give up to get her back? Probably not that much, just because of the fact that she's a WNBA player. But Russia's, of course, going to play a little hardball here. If we're going to talk about geopolitics, we're going to talk about making actual trades, you got to give a good offer, right? I mean, you actually have to put something on the table that's exciting, or do your own fucked up shit, which our government is totally capable of doing. So this is just a hypothetical, but I want some basketball players, even a Kyrie Irving, especially a Kyrie Irving, because I think he'd have the balls to actually suggest something completely outlandish like I'm about to suggest. Wait, no, I'm not suggesting this. I am not endorsing this. However, I'm just throwing out an option. I just want them to throw out something just to say, I don't even know what, but give a solution to the president of the United States instead of saying, do your job. Like, this is very far down on the list of things that Joe Biden was elected for, no matter how you feel about him, right? So, I don't know. How about, wild guess, we offer Russia something back that they thought that they didn't have to worry about. Huh? So here's what your boy did. Check that. Here's what a Reddit thread I saw did. This is their proposal. This isn't mine. Okay? I went on a website and I looked up an article called Meet the Richest Russians in America. The U.S. is home to a dizzying number of wealthy, powerful Russians. But who's who? So here's an idea. If we want to actually level the playing field and not have to trade the Merchant of Death, some Russian arms dealer who apparently Russia would like in return for Brittany Griner, which does not seem like a fair trade. I don't know. How about we kidnap a bunch of rich Russian people? Would Russia do that? So, I mean, think about it from that perspective. The National Football League, cutthroat. Geopolitics, cutthroat. You want to bring Brittany Griner home? And all of that important basketball playing she's got? And to appease all the basketball players? I don't know. How about, this is a real man, how about find Roman Abramovich? Now, he lives in London, but he has a Fifth Avenue mansion in Manhattan. Estimated $400 million worth. 500 plus foot yacht. Huh? I don't know. Maybe all of a sudden Roman Abramovich finds himself in a van with a bunch of CIA operatives, and the next thing you know, Russia's trying to negotiate his release. I'm sure he is fucking around on taxes, right? Of course he is. Okay, fine. Maybe you don't want to go that high up the food chain. Maybe you don't want Roman Abramovich. How about Igor Krutoy? He's got a $48 million apartment at the Plaza. Oh. He hails from Ukraine too. Maybe you help, kind of slow down the war between Russia and Ukraine. I don't know. I'm just suggesting things. How about Vladislav Doronin? Another rich Russian. $16 million home, Star Island, Miami Beach. Andrei Vavilov. He's got a $37.5 million penthouse in New York Time Warner Center. I'm reading this off of a list. Apologies if, it's getting a little bit rough. Mikhail Prokhorov. Oh, you remember him from the sports world, right? Didn't that guy used to own the Nets? Does he still own the Nets? I don't even know anymore. But he's got a $35,000 per night penthouse at the Manhattan's Four Seasons. Look, all I'm trying to say here is that I'm tired of hearing celebrities, athletes go about their daily lives, but then weigh in on things that they don't know a whole lot about and say, we got to do something. I don't know. How about a little more depth than that? And the depth that I provide is an idea for the U.S. government, if they really want to get Brittany Griner back, to, I don't know, perhaps be lobbied into kidnapping some rich Russians so that they can trade them back for Brittany Griner. That way, you plant some, I don't know, something on them. You catch them for tax evasion, one or the other, and the next thing you know, trade can happen and everything's fine and Brittany's free. Hashtag free BG. Just throwing it out there. But that's up to you, okay? I want suggestions going forward. I feel bad for Brittany Griner. It sucks that she's in this situation, even though she put herself in this situation. I would love to see her get freed ultimately. I'm tired of basketball players saying, we got to do something. That's all. One last thing. And again, on the Gallant Says podcast, you can contribute at any point. Ask me a question. I'll answer anything. Whether it's on YouTube, youtube.com/PaulGallant, or twitch.tv/Gallant Says. I do not, for the life of me, believe that Generation Z is as into this as they claim to be. I just don't for a fucking second buy it. I do not. Nope. Not me. I do not believe them when they say that they like eating ass. Nope. I don't believe them. But it's a thing. And you hear it talked about on the internet all the time. This is a clip that's about, I don't know, 10 days, 2 weeks old or something like that. One of the Pawl brothers does, I guess, a YouTube show with a co-host of some sort. And they had Stephen A. Smith on. Stephen A. Smith was asked that very question. Here is the clip.
No bullshit, Stephen A. No bullshit, honest answer.
I don't bullshit.
No bullshit.
I don't bullshit.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
Do you,
Okay.
Stephen A., eat ass?
Oh, shit.
No.
You don't eat ass. That's an honest answer.
I don't have. No, that's a God's honest answer. Never. I don't have to.
Let's pause for a second. The look of incredulity on these fuckers' faces. I don't believe you do it. I'm sorry. No, you don't. You like eating the poop chute? Like poop comes out of there. That's where poop comes from. Let's eat it though. Yeah, I don't believe you. I think that Generation Z keeps to themselves. I don't even think they have sex. And they consistently talk about all these crazy things that they do. I don't fucking think they do them. Nope. By the way, hell no. Not doing that. There's poop there. Oh, but it was wiped. Sure it was. That's where the poop goes. That's where the poop leaves. Nope. Anyway, this back and forth between a Pawl brother and Stephen A. Smith continued.
Have you gotten your ass eaten?
Never. That's private.
Oh!
Yes!
Yes!
It's a yes! That's private. Hey, that's private.
I have nothing else to say.
Yes!
I have nothing else to say.
Okay, so like at the very end, I feel like Gen Z was pandering to the young audience. Sorry. I don't want that either. I got to kiss that mouth later. Nope. Don't want it. And I do not believe, again, for a second, that Generation Z is actually doing that as much as they claim to be. Slow your roll. You guys are not that hard. Nope. Stone Jam 206, last question. Are you at all scared of the Phillies? I don't know. I think I should be. The Astros, the last couple of times that they've gone up in the World Series against an NL East team, they've lost. And they've gone up against a couple of Phillies teams. A Nationals team and a Braves team that they were favored against in both series. I have looked at Philadelphia's bats, and I think that they have an equal ability to score as Houston. Bryce Harper's been on a tear. He's their best player. The Astros, meanwhile, have had slumps from Jose Altuve, from Yordan Alvarez, from Kyle Tucker of late. I feel like from a scoring perspective, they're on level playing field. I think that the Astros pitching is way better than theirs. And you take a look at the numbers this year, I think that Phillies had the 18th best ERA in all of baseball, and that they had the 14th best walks hits per innings pitched in all of baseball. And those might be flipped, and the Astros are 2 in both categories. So I guess I'm not scared, but maybe I should be. I don't know. Anyway, that's going to wrap up today's edition of the Gallant Says podcast. We try to do this thing weekly. I think I've come to a time at 3 o'clock Central. That might change on Friday because I will be going to game number 1 of the World Series between the Astros and the Philadelphia Phillies. So we might push it up to 2 o'clock on Friday. Maybe it'll be 2 o'clock on Friday going forward. But 3 o'clock in the afternoon seems like it's the best time for me to do this thing. Thank you so much for joining. If you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or SoundCloud. That's if you're a listener. But if you want to watch it, you can watch it live and join the conversation, youtube.com/Pawl Gallant or twitch.tv/Gallant Says. So long, farewell. Have yourselves a wonderful Tuesday. We will be back at it 3 o'clock Central on Wednesday.